Hello beautiful people, welcome back to this channel, Legal Talk with Amy. This is the channel where we talk about the legal aspect of everything. If you've watched last week's video, you will know that this is a continuation of that video. And on this episode, we're going to be discussing very interesting things about relationship. We're going to be talking about gifts, we're going to be talking about cohabiting, that is moving in together, and we're going to be talking about the custody of a child born out of marriage. So I'm sure these topics are interesting to you. If you like to know more about this, you should sit back, stay tuned, sit back, relax, and enjoy. Before we go, I would like to implore you that you should like this video, because I know you're gonna like it. If you've not subscribed to this channel, what have you been doing? Kindly subscribe now and turn on the notification button so you know whenever we drop a video on this channel. So, like we all know, when it comes to gifts, most people say there is no romance without finance. And I really agree with that statement. Most times, for you to show your love to another person, you need to give them some things, one thing or the other. But at the end of the day, we discover that in this social media age, the moment a relationship sinks or capsizes or castigates, whatever you want to call it, people go back to go and collect their hair, their clothes, which is almost very ridiculous. So it's very important that we discuss what it means when someone gives you a gift in a relationship and what happens to that gift when that relationship comes to an end. So before I do this, I would like to explain to you that there are three categories of gifts. There are just regular gifts that do not need to be registered. Under this category, we have the bone straight hair, the iPhone, and shoes, bag, clothes, various things that people gift themselves. The second category are gifts that are monumental. For instance, this can be an engagement ring, it can be a pendant, it can be something that is more of the value than the money, is more of the sentimental value than the monetary value. And the third category of gifts are gifts that can be registered. These are cars, houses, and what have you. So basically, if someone gives you a bone straight hair or a phone, the moment you give that gift and the other person accepts it, and how do they signify the acceptance? The moment you present it to them and they're like, oh my god, you bought me a phone, and they are so like, oh my god, thank you very much. They've showed acceptance, they've accepted that gift. You can never ever go and collect that gift again from them. It belongs to them. The moment you go and try to obtain that gift from them, you are stealing from them, and they can call a police to arrest you because you have given them that gift. The second category of gifts, which is monumental gifts that I spoke about earlier, once you give it to someone, like an engagement ring, is signifying I would like to marry you. So if that engagement terminates, it's only expected that the person who gave you that engagement ring will want to collect it back. Or if someone gives you a gift saying that this thing belongs to my family, is being handed over from one generation to the other, but I am giving this to you simply because of the love and connection that we share, the moment the relationship ends, is expected that you're going to return it. So if you're the giver of that particular monumental gift, all you need to do is ask them. They might be willing to willingly give you without going to court. So you don't need to go and start spoiling their image on social media or doing any other thing. Just ask them. And if they are not giving you, you get a lawyer to help you properly send them a demand letter for you to receive that gift back. The worst case scenario, you guys will sue yourself and get to court, and the judge will determine whether you are able to collect that gift back or not. So going to the last category of gifts. If someone should buy you a car, and they buy it in their name, and you people break up, please, I beg in the name of God, just go and park the car back in their house. Don't even bother, just go and park the car back in their house. But on a very serious note, if someone should buy you a car and you buy the car in their own name, it means that they had no intention of giving you that gift in the first place. It was never a gift they were giving to you. All they did was give you access to use that particular property that belonged to them. The same thing if they buy a house and give it to you, a house in their name. But if they buy you a car in your name, obviously they can't come and collect it back because they bought you that car already. If they bought the house in your name, they can't come and collect it back because they have already given it to you already. Now, it's very important for us to talk about another aspect of gifts. This is maybe the man buys you a car that he is paying on installment for. So he made the down payment when the going was good. He had paid for, maybe he's supposed to make the payment for a period of 6 months. He paid for the first month, second month, third month. It could also be a woman who does this for a man. So I mean, the gender part of it, we shouldn't really concentrate on that. So anyway, so the first month, second month, third month, he pays, and at the third month you guys break up, and then this guy is like, I cannot continue to pay the installment on this car. You can decide as the person who received the gift to continue to pay the installment, because one way or the other, you can't force him to continue to pay the installment the moment the relationship has broken down. And he never gave you a gift that was totally his. Some part of that gift still belonged to the person he purchased it from, because he had not paid the total money for it. So you cannot force him to continue to make that installment. If you still want to keep that car that was bought in your name, you can continue to pay the installment till it is over. And for gifts that were bought in his name, you can ask him to buy the car off him. If he's ready to sell it to you, you can ask her to buy the car off her if they're ready to sell it to you or whatever. But you need to know that that gift was never yours in the first place, and it was never an outright gift. It was just you having access to use it for a period of time. I hope you have learned a thing or two. So the next time someone is giving you a gift, whether a car or a house, ensure that it is in your name. And if you collect a monumental gift, just give it back. There's nothing there. This is something that meant a lot to this person, so you give it back. And if someone gives to you iPhone or bone straight or shoes or clothes, they cannot come and collect it back. The moment they come to your house, just call police to come and arrest them, because they are trying to steal from you. So now that we've discussed gifts, the relationship is so beautiful, and then at some point parties are thinking, we should move in together. It's necessary for me to tell you that the law in Nigeria does not recognize couples cohabiting. You guys are still going to be seen as just friends. The fact that you're living together, you're doing couple stuff, you're doing everything a couple is doing, you're still going to be seen as just friends. But if there is a situation whereby the man go and, in the way they used to say it, let's say they do introduction, they do small thing on her head, or he goes to do small thing on her head, or the man has done small thing on the woman's head, or they do introduction, whatever you choose to call it, then that changes the whole dynamics. It means a traditional marriage has taken place, especially in some cultures where there was an exchange of bride price, or there was something, you understand. So basically it becomes a marriage. But if you guys are just cohabiting, there has been no ceremony, nothing was done, what the law sees you as is just friends. So now let's talk about the house that you're living in together. So for instance, let's say that we were using, I think the names we used last week was John and Christiana. So for instance, John realizes that it takes 15 minutes from Christiana's house to his office, unlike his own house that usually takes him 1 hour to his office. And little by little, from staying 2 nights in Christiana's house, staying the weekend, staying the whole week, Christiana was like, you know what, John, why don't you move in with me and let's continue to live in this house happily. And then they move in together and they start living. Christiana even sees John maybe lease out his sublet his apartment to someone else. He moved some of his furniture into Christiana's house, but he didn't contribute anything to the rent. John is not Christiana's tenant, and Christiana did not introduce him to a landlord, did not say anything to anybody about Christiana. If one day that ship capsized, all Christiana is required to do under the law is to give John 7 days notice to move out of her house, and he will have no choice but to do that. So, and even if he pays, if he contributes, so the dynamics changes a bit if he contributes to the rent, because that way he has become a subtenant, not particularly a licensee, because he has contributed some part of his money to the rent. So that way she cannot just move him out, but still she can still tell him to leave, because the landlord doesn't know him, nobody knows him, and it's only through her that he came. She can claim he's a trespasser, he's neither here nor there, but she will just give him some form of notice depending on what kind of tenancy he paid for. I mean, if he was paying weekly, she will only give him 7 days notice, and it goes on like that. So finally, that's why I would advise you, if you're moving in with your partner, whether a girl, whether a guy, whoever you are, ensure that they introduce you to their landlord. They tell their landlord what the new rules entails. They acknowledge you as a co-tenant of that apartment, so that one day when they wake up at another side of the bed, they will not tell you that, please uncle, pack your load and go, or they tell you, please auntie, pack your load and go. Let's be very, very careful so that we do not find ourselves on the streets. It's very, very important. One thing that usually happen in unmarried relationship, even though we do not plan it, is that some people the woman might end up getting pregnant for the man, and they are unmarried. So what is the status of that child in the marriage? In Nigeria, there are no illegitimate children. Every child is legitimate. So you cannot call that child a bastard simply because the child was born out of wedlock. But now, it's very important for us to examine who has custody, because there are so many times people will tell you that it's the man that has custody because of culture, or it's the woman that has custody. The truth about this is, what the law says is that it's the woman that has custody of that child. So this is to tell you men, if you know you would like to have full custody of the child or have a right or access to the child, it's necessary that you either marry that person or you go to court and file for co-custody of that child. But under the law, it is the woman that has the custody of the child. And it's also necessary that at every point in time, you should know that the law will always do only what is in the interest of that child. So if you guys are having a steady relationship, because of the situation of cohabiting in Nigeria and the situation of the status of the child and the way things get messy, personally, I would just advise that the moment you think this relationship is getting somewhere, why don't you take it a step further and just get married? Anyway, that being said, that's all for today. That's all for this week. Next week, we're going to explore breach of promise to marry. You will know whether you can go and sue that man that served you breakfast, or that girl that served you breakfast 2 weeks to your wedding. You know whether you can go and sue them or whether you cannot sue them. And then we'll talk about marriage, what it entails, what the law recognizes as a valid marriage, what the parties to a marriage, what you can do after you marry, and then after that we'll talk about breaking down of marriages and so on and so forth. Thank you for watching. Thank you for staying tuned till now. If you have not subscribed already, what are you doing? Why have you not subscribed, and why have you not liked this video? Because it's very interesting. Anyway, please like the video, subscribe, and always comment. You guys don't comment, please always comment so I can read feedbacks. I love to read feedback. I remain your host, Temitope Odenka. Till I see you again next week. Bye.